Representing Texas, head coach Jared Elliott, Nicole Dalton, Molly McCage, Kat McCoy, and Amy Neal. Coach, if you'd begin with an opening statement, sans smoothie.
Well, obviously this is a great opportunity for us, and we're fired up to be here. I think it's a tribute to the young women that are in this program and their unity and their will to play for each other. I think that's the biggest thing that stands out to me as their coach. And we've got a tremendous amount of respect for Nebraska. I think the fans are going to be all over us because it's Texas, and we're excited about playing in this national championship match to represent our university and our state.
As I open the floor to questions, please be a little patient. We have one microphone holder. Eric, if you'd begin.
Eric Olson with the Associated Press. Amy, could you address this? Like Jarrett just mentioned, you know, there's going to be a lot of people dressed in red tomorrow. When you're playing for a national championship and you're not at a neutral site, and when you're basically in someone's home gym, could you comment on just the degree of difficulty that adds to the task?
I honestly think it's kind of fun that it'll be packed with Nebraska fans. I think that whenever we've gone to their home court, it's smaller, but it's still a huge arena filled with people. But I think it's fun when the crowd's against us. I think they'll be all over us, like Jarrett said. But I think we embrace that, and I just think it'll be a lot of fun. I don't think they'll be causing us to have too much pressure. I think we'll just want to play because I think it gets us fired up.
Chris Sobalski, ProVolleyball.com. Nicole, your coach last night gave you very high praise in this press conference, and just your ability to, to take on a role that, you would probably like to have an expanded role, obviously. But can you talk about your mindset and just how you've embraced what's been asked of you this year?
It's definitely a new role, but I love playing defense. I love being in the back row with Kat, and Amy, and everyone else who plays defense. So I think if I had to choose, I would love to be a libero, actually, if I were to be asked that question. But I love it. I love playing defense and passing. Next to these girls especially. We've created a tight bond just communicating, and I've enjoyed it this year. It's been a learning experience, but it's been a good one.
Michael Shapiro, Daily Texan. Coach, you guys have won 12 consecutive matches, played pretty strong this tournament. Do you feel like this team's really hitting its stride as they approach the national championship game?
Well, if numbers don't lie, and I think last night we played at a high level. You got to approach each match differently, and there'll be some challenges for us. And again, it's about how we execute and how we stay confident and how we're able to play our game. And I bet you like as a coach the way that they played last night. I think they'll be threatened coming into tomorrow night, which is a good sign for us. And hopefully we can continue the level we are, but I feel like that was one of our better matches last night, and we can build off of that.
Ryan Atulo, Austin American Statesman. Jarrett, the first time you played in Nebraska, Ebony was so involved. Do you even look at that match much? Can you put much into it? Or is this two completely different teams 3 months later?
Who says she won't play tomorrow night? No. Yeah, it's a completely different team. They've switched some players around. We're a completely different team in terms of at that point of the season. We didn't have Cole passing for us and different lineups. And, I think that's way too far back to be able to consider anything. I think both teams are obviously playing really well and completely different situations. So we'll approach it the way we always do and get good with our routines and get the team prepared.
In the back.
Jane Slater, Longhorn Network. Amy, Molly, Kat, this one's for you specifically. Seems like you helped loosen up Coach a little bit, but he seems especially loose this year. Why?
Kat, if you'd begin.
If I can answer that?
You got it.
I don't know. I think Jared has just a lot of trust in us and what we can do and what we can bring to the table. And this year's just been like a lot of fun, and we can joke around with him and he jokes around with us. And I just think it's been a really fun ride so far, so I just want to keep it going.
Molly, anything to add?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we definitely have the coach-to-player relationship. We're also, everyone involved, we're all just really good friends. So if anything, that builds trust within us. But we can have fun on the court, and that's really what it's all about when it comes down to it.
I can address that some more. I think as a coach, your job is to manage people, and when you got great leadership and great unity, and you're trusting where they are and seeing their actions and how they're handling themselves, your job is just to kind of steer them in the right direction. So when they're this good, like in 2012, my hands are off. I'm not doing anything really right now except making sure their routines are good and we're preparing them and they're in a good mindset. And we'll review some things with them. But again, I'm more relaxed because I've got 120% trust in this group.
Don Patterson, volleyball. Don Patterson, Volleyball USA. Amy, you had 67 swings last night. Is that just a routine night for you, and you expect maybe about that load tomorrow night too?
I don't think it's a routine night at all. But, I mean, I don't know. Being an outside, you're going to get sets whenever there's a crazy dig or a bad pass. You're going to get out of system balls that you need to just put in. So I think that was a factor to why I got so many swings. I don't usually get that many in system. So I just think it was just how the game went. I think Chloe did a great job moving the ball around, and I guess I just ended up with that many for some reason.
Michelle.
Michelle Vogel, ESPN.com. Jarrett, John was in here a little earlier talking about the obvious that when you all were both in the Big 12, from a city standpoint, Austin and Lincoln tended to not be that friendly toward each other, and the athletic departments were in such competition. But the volleyball programs, he said, had such respect, and you guys have continued playing each other even after the conference breakup, which we haven't seen in other sports with conference breakups. Can you talk about the decision to do that and just the respect that you guys have between you and John?
Yeah, I think it's one of the great rivalries in college volleyball, and I think the Nebraska fans are very well educated. I think they're one of the programs in the country that do it right, and they invest a lot of money into it, and they've grown their fan base and really grown the sport and been a big part of that. And when I took over, we weren't quite at that point right now, and that's what our goal is, to kind of get to that point. But I think both cities enjoy the competition when they come into town. They're sellouts, and it makes it great for our sport. And for me, it's also about these young ladies having the opportunity to be in those environments. That's why you come to college, to play fun games and enjoy those opportunities and to challenge each other. And for us to be able to play Nebraska early in the season every year teaches us a lot. And so it's a great learning tool, and we know that they're going to be good year in and year out. And so it's something that I felt was really important. I think John did too, and we're lucky to be able to both agree in that one area.
Brent Wagner from the Lincoln Journal-Star. Coach, what do you see as the challenges of Nebraska's lineup that they're using now in the tournament?
Well, I think they got a lot of balance. They're a very good passing team, so they can stay in system a long periods of time, and they've got some effective blockers. So, a great libero that can control the ball. So I think there's a lot of different facets they can hurt you at, and we'll see kind of what matchups we'll start off with, but. To be able to do that and be able to offset that, you got to control the ball, and we've been able to do that too, and got a lot of trust in our serve-receive game. So, the longer the rallies go, will be great for us. I think we can manage that and use our live arms and hopefully take advantage of some of the skill sets that we have.
Greg.
Coach Greg Eklund, this is for Omaha Public Radio. Two-part question. One, Ebony had 22 kills in that match earlier this year. Did she get hurt in that match? Can you shed some light on what unfolded there? And the second part is how much of the dynamics of the team changed after her absence?
Well, she was hurting after the match, but we didn't think much of it, and she showed up the next morning and she couldn't walk. So, and at that point she went into, she was out of practice for almost, I can't remember this frame time, but many, many weeks. And she's kind of just starting to get back into some partial practices now, but she's had some other setbacks. I think the great thing about coaching this age group is that they forget things pretty fast and they move on. And so that was a long time ago, and the season's a long time. And Yazzie moved over, and we kind of built that slowly after looking at a couple of different lineups. And if anything, now they've got just as much confidence in Yazzie, and I think that showed last night, the way that she handles herself. The things that she says in the huddles, the things that she talks about, and the way that she shows up on a daily she shows up daily at practice. So, yeah, we lost Ebony, but we've developed somebody that's a pretty darn special freshman right now, and we're fortunate to have that kind of talent and the kind of leadership to get her comfortable in the role that she's playing.
Are there any further questions? Michelle.
Jarrett, you mentioned a little earlier when you came in. I mean, you came in after the first season Texas had never made the NCAA tournament, and you were able to turn it around really pretty quickly. I know you missed the tournament 1 year, but after that, you haven't since then. Can you talk about what it took to make that turnaround that quickly? I mean, it can't just be recruiting. It's got to be a lot of other things that have to come into place.
Well, it didn't happen as fast as I had envisioned in my head, but I was young. I took the program over when I was 32. They were 10 and 18, as you said, and I had a big task to take, and I think a big part of the whole process was how do I manage this group and how do I change the culture and how do I create something that's a winning mentality, especially in the state, and making sure the state is behind me. So it happened a little slowly. There were some players. I mean, the first meeting I had was that you're welcome to stay in this program. We want you here, but if you feel this is not the right place for you, we'll help you find another place. And a couple players took me up on that. Throughout the years, we had a couple players that were bad apples that were removed and they were transferred. And then we were able to kind of find the right kids. The first part were kids that were good enough to make us better, but they weren't the elite of the elite. And then we started getting, a couple in-state kids. We got Destiny that was a hidden gem. Ashley Engel was a big catch for us out of California that didn't want to look at us. And then we started kind of gaining some momentum. But more importantly, we were recruiting the kind of kids that had great personalities, that were great people, and creating a culture around that. And you guys have no idea about how hard it is to manage the group, and you got different people from different backgrounds. You got kids from married families, single parents, inner city, affluent. You got to be able to create a culture on that. So it's constant work, it's constant trust. Some years are better than others, and I think now we've been able to create a culture. And I think what we always say, and I think what I've noticed is when they become seniors, they realize how fast it comes about, and they want to leave the program in a better place than they found it. And I think Molly and the group that's sitting up here really embraced that. They really wanted it to be a team. It's not about themselves. You heard a couple days ago Amy say that she'd be willing to give up her first team All-American so Kat Brooks and Cole could win a national championship because she wants to do it for them. So we've been able to create that, and now now it's kind of flowing a little bit easier. I mean, obviously now we can get in everybody's homes or get people to come to campus and pick and choose the right personalities and see what we need to continue this remarkable run that we've had.
Everything's fine with Chiaka. Was she feeling okay at practice today?
Yeah, she was fine. She went through practice today. We limited some of the stuff that she did, but we feel like we can get her back, and we're confident. We got a doctor here. We got a phenomenal trainer. We've got all the, we got massage therapists and other people that are here. We just bring the whole hospital when we travel sometimes.
Final call for questions. Seeing none, I'd like to thank Coach Elliott and the Texas student athletes for joining us.
Thank you.